Hello, and welcome to episode 213 of Prog Review. And today, you haven't read the description, the title. I'm talking about Close to the Edge. No, not Close to the Edge. I've already done a big review. This is the 213. Tell it's been a long day. This is the 2013 even edition of it, and this is apparently the definitive edition. CD and Blu-ray. It's been remixed by that Mr. Stephen Wilson, you know, that guy who does the Porcupine Tree and stuff. And yeah, the day started well. I was enjoying the surround sound mix, and I was exploring the Blu-ray, because this is what I tend to do. I tend to come to these things via the surround sound first and leave the stereo mixes second, because usually you need to go back to the source material for a decent mix. I never find the stereo mixes satisfying. Well, totally satisfying. So yeah, I was listening to it, and it's really good to hear Close to the Edge in surround sound, the title track. There are a few, liberties taken. There's some vocals that I'd never noticed before. Again, probably buried in the mix, things lifted out, like the way that Steve Howe's backing vocals panned to the arm's that left, and Squire's on the right and Anderson's at the front, and so you kind of get surrounded by the yes sound. A similar technique was used on this one. This is the SACD of Fragile, which has a 5.1 mix. So yeah, it was good to hear, and it did sound like a new album. Everything sounded wide and expansive, and Close to the Edge is in places quite cinematic. With the keyboards and the when Rick Wakeman does his big keyboard bit, and very powerful stuff, and the old subwoofer was rattling. Oh yes, rattling with Chris Squire's bass. So yeah, it was okay. Wasn't too keen. Got to the second side. Second side doesn't have a side. It's a Blu-ray. What am I talking about? It doesn't have sides. But yeah, got on to the other two tracks on the album, and so I thought, my interest started to wane, especially with And You and I. It just seemed to lack some of the acousticness. It's very acoustic, isn't it, that song? It just seemed to lack some of that brightness of the original mix. And again, Siberian Khatru, it clomped along, but then those songs don't have the depth that Close to the Edge, the title track, has. So so that was that. And then you also get a 5.1 mix of America, which is okay. You get instrumental mixes. Yeah, they're just in stereo. They're not in 5.1 or anything. You just didn't really get the point of them. There's an early mix of Close to the Edge, which is quite interesting. Again, it kind of follows the 2003 issue, which has a demo version of Siberian Khatru on it, an alternate take of And You and I. So they've got these alternate versions out there, and it's kind of interesting to hear the band bringing that together. There's also a vinyl drop. Why anyone would need to do that when you could listen to the vinyl? You need the whole vibration in the needle out of the speakers to really get the same kind of vibe. And then, like I said, I've listened to it 3 times today. I'm driving everybody barking. I listened to the surround sound 3 times. I listened to the stereo mix once, but I was comparing it with this one, the 2003 edition, which I quite like, which is quite punchy. I prefer this. I know a lot of people don't like the it's all subjective, but I prefer this one. Has a bit more punch to it. The stereo mix, I don't know, it just didn't. I don't know, it was lacking something. You know, he's mixed it a little bit low. You know, there's nothing wrong with it, but I just prefer a bit of punch to it. And then, you know, because I was forced in the missus to listen to, you know, the 5.1 of Close to the Edge, and, you know, I was having a bit of a nostalgic evening. And then I said, "Have you heard this? The 5.1 of Fragile." Now, this was done in 2002. It was released as a DVD audio, but this is the SACD version, which was released last year. I'm just checking the booklet because I want to remember. I can't remember the name of the guy that did the. Yeah, Tim Wiedner did the surround sound mix of this, and it's really punchy and it's really good, and I really like it. And the interesting thing is, it also has a version of America on, which Close to the Edge by Mr. Wilson has too. And I was thinking, whoa, wait a minute. This sounds really nice and punchy, and you get the drums and the bass. He really knows how to handle Sky's bass, and America sounded really raw. And I thought, wait a minute, Close to the Edge sounds a bit muffled. It didn't sound as, you know, whoa, hey. So by the end of the evening, I've been kind of confused whether or not I like it or not. I think it's a good job, but, you know, I think there's a certain zing missing. It's very difficult describing audio. It's very hard. It's very hard. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with this new surround sound mix. The 5.1 is okay. I mean, it's all right. But the stereo, I can take or leave it. And so if you say to me, "Oh, I don't really," I understand. I can really take or leave it. But with the Blu-ray, you do get an awful lot of content. You get the 5.1, the various single edits, and this, that, and the other. There's a lot to explore. So in a way, it is the definitive. They've done a good hard job bringing everything together, but they're still missing a couple of tracks that appeared on the 2003 edition. Packaging, I'm not too keen on this. The booklet falls out. Can't stand these sticky things. They end up getting stuck to the cover, and then I get stuck to my fingers, and then they end up, you know, wrinklier than an elephant's scrotum, and, you know, so I'm not too keen on that. I got this cheap because, you know me, Mr. Cheap. I got this from Sainsbury's. I didn't get it from Amazon. I think I paid $12.99 for it, and that was a fair price. I wouldn't pay $16.99 for it. But how many copies of Close to the Edge do you need? Do you need this one, which is an SACD version, or this one, which is a 2003 version, or this one? Well, I'd stick with the 2003 version for now, if you just got the stereo set up. But if you like to dabble with the 5.1, give it a listen. Apparently the DVD packaging is different. I might get that because it's digipack, I think, so I might have a look at that. But I wish they'd given it to the guy who did Fragile, because he did a really, you know, if you've heard this is really zingy and it's really powerful, and I like the way he accentuates the counterplay between Bruford's drums and Squire's bass. It's kind of lost on that Stephen Wilson mix, and you know, it makes me sound like I'm having a go at Mr. Wilson, and I'm not. I usually have the greatest admiration for his remixing work, but this one, a little bit off the boil, and that's it. So as a rating, I'm going to give this. Ooh, it's difficult. I don't want to slate it completely because, you know, I think it's, you know, it is exciting to hear the 5.1, but it just lacks a little bit of that top end that Mr. Wiedner brought over. So I'm going to give this. I'm going to give this 4 total mass retains out of 5. That's 4 total mass retains out of 5. So yeah, not totally perfect. You know, I think that there was I do think there's a better mix in there somewhere. I really do. And I'm surprised Mr. Wilson didn't find it. And with that, I think I'm going to sign off because, to be honest, I've had enough of listening to Close to the Edge today. But it's been good. I've enjoyed reminiscing. But of course, nothing beats the vinyl, does it really? And with that, I'll bid you adieu. Enjoy the Google Plus comment section. I know lots of people are moaning about it, but it's all right. It'll do, won't it? You just got to get on with it. And of course, if you don't like it, there's always the Twitter. You can follow me on the Twitter. And then there's the Facebook, when we can have a little dialogue on this. So it's not all lost. You don't all have to, throw your toys out of the pram. And with that, I shall slink off to my bed because it's late. It's been a long day listening to Yes. Only one more thing to say. Are you ready? Prog on.